channel. So this is Tech to Therapy, where I talk about transitioning from working in the tech industry and now becoming a therapist. And today was my first day of practicum, so I wanted to talk about like how my day went. And I'm sorry, I was gonna record like different parts of my day, but I like totally forgot, so it's just gonna be me in this monologue today. Okay, so my day started by first going to my first group supervision class. So basically I have two different supervision classes. One of them is more like a real class where I have assignments and I talk about clients, and then another one's more true to like group supervision where it's just talking about clients and kind of like debriefing with the other fellow therapists. So anyways, I went to my first class supervision, so that was pretty boring because it was just like syllabus stuff and kind of setting, you know, ground rules on how we want to hold that space, and professor did some intro, stuff like that. So that was like pretty standard, I would say, but I think that one's every week, so I'll see everyone every week from different clinic sites, and you know, we'll talk about our clients, and yeah, I'll be supervised from a non-Gestalt therapist. If you see my other videos, you know a little bit about what Gestalt is, because yeah, I've talked about it a couple times. So I started, yes, group therapy, and oh my, parking in San Francisco, I forgot how bad it is. I had to park in a lot that was $15 per hour. So I paid $15, and then I drove over to my clinic site, and I had orientation for 5 hours. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. I think it's because I really like my site, but the orientation consisted of like the clinic director talking about, you know, just like the welcoming message and like what we can kind of expect. And then there was a lot of it, the time was about logistics of being a therapist. And I know that's not like what you usually think about when it comes to therapy and like what a therapist does, but there are lots of paperwork and lots of things that we need to keep track of because there's a lot of regulations in this field, so we want to make sure that we are complying with the law. So there's a lot of like, yeah, just like paperwork, compliance things. An associate, or like AMFT, Associate Marriage and Family Therapist, actually came through like halfway through the session and walked us through like the more nitty-gritty details of what we can expect in some of these tasks that we're doing. For example, like phone shifts. So whenever, you know, when we're not in therapy, someone has to be available to pick up the clinic phone line. So when a client does call, we can, you know, have the correct information to decide if they're a good fit for our client or our clinic. And I mean, that's pretty much it. And you know, just like have someone there to like talk to when a client calls. So there's a lot of different places that we have to track that information because for confidentiality reasons, we can't put the full name and like all their information in one spot. So we'll get some information about them, like age and, you know, reason why they're coming, stuff like that in one spot, in one document, and then we'll have their code name like in another document, and then we have their full name in like another document. So there's just like a whole bunch of documents out there, and you kind of have to figure out how to do all of it. So that's kind of the stuff that we basically talked about. There was nothing on like what it's gonna be like to hold a session together. Like none of that stuff we covered at all, which is fine. I think it was important that we talked about all these logistics things. Yeah, so that's kind of like how my day went. I got assigned my first 2 clients last night, so everything is feeling much more real now, and I'm getting more nervous. Like I think before I was like, it's gonna be fine, easy, breezy. Well, I knew it wasn't gonna be easy, but like I was more excited, and now that I know like information about these clients and just like it just feels more real, I'm getting a little bit more nervous. Yeah, so I'm supposed to give both of my clients a call this week and, let them know that we're gonna do an intake session and kind of like walk through all of that stuff. So yeah, it's really coming close to the day that I see my first client, and this whole thing just becomes real. Like, I've been in school this is my 3rd year now, and this is the first time I'm seeing a client. So, there's a lot of like, what's the word? Yeah. So in my practicum site, we have there's 6 of us that are going in as a cohort, and the rest of the site maybe is like 20-ish people. So it's small. It's pretty big in terms of like the number of trainees in there, because we only have trainees. But I think it's a pretty big site. Actually, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, and then one thing I learned, like if you are thinking about being a therapist or like in this process, you probably already know of it, but I didn't know that there is this, it makes sense. There's this website that you can use to track all of the hours that you have, because it can get a little complicated because you need a certain number of hours that's directly with a client. Some of them have to be individual, some of it has to be family or child. There's a certain number of hours you need supervision. There's a ratio that you need supervision to seeing clients. And then there's like other, like not community service, but client-centered advocacy work. I don't even know what that is, but there are all these different types of hours that you need. So what is this called? Track Your Hours is a website that is really helpful for that. You do have to pay, but I have heard that it is very worth it because it just helps organize all the hours and make sure that you have everything that you need when you submit it to the BBS. Okay, this was very, very centered on becoming licensed in California, but nonetheless, I think this site does work for other states. I'm not sure, but if you haven't heard of it, definitely check it out. Not sponsored at all. Not at all. Not sponsored at all. I'm just saying. This is like what we all talked about in our practicum site. Like, this is a good software to have. And anyways, that's it for today. It's kind of like a short video because I just want to do a little video to, get record of how I feel in the very, very, very beginning of practicum, because I think I'm gonna have different feelings throughout this whole year. So this is just marking like my journey at the very, very tip of my practicum journey. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.